everybody. Mike Donahue here, and this is Brian May.
Hey,
And
everybody.
we're having, I wish you guys could hear us before and after these podcasts, because we kind of clean it up a little bit for you guys. But, the real
That's
Donahue and May after hours.
That's right.
Before hours. Well, Brian, so missed you last week. I got on with my brother, and it was
excellent podcast, by the way. Excellent.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was fun. It's fun doing it with him. He's such a funny guy. Good guy too. So this week though, we've got some, so I wanted to give you a little show and tell. I went to Boston. I was there, obviously with my brother, and we had a good time. We're close to Cape Cod, went down to Cape Cod, went to Martha's Vineyard. So I got some paraphernalia. So I'm going to talk like a Bostonian today. We got some paraphernalia here. We got my Celtics hat, World Championship hat. I found this little thing. I'll put this up in my office. It's entering Cape Cod town sign. You see that all right? There you go. It's better. I got that. I found this. This is the 2-album set. It's the Jay Giles band, Boston band. Serious Boston band. Jay Giles. Found that in a garage.
Yeah, Mike, I used to have that album, but I couldn't find it, so it must have got lost.
Somewhere down the line.
That's right.
The pewter. All right, and then this is the big Monte here. We got the Last Supper. With all the Boston sports guys. I'm not even gonna. Yeah, I mean that's a little controversial this week.
Man, I could hear I could hear the keyboards clacking.
The Last Supper. Yeah. So speaking of the Last Supper, we had quite a week, didn't we, with the Olympics? By the way, I'm supporting my Olympic. I am supporting the Olympics. We'll get to that in a minute, I guess. But so we had quite the week of different controversy going on. Okay, so here's the deal. Let's just talk about it because we were going to jump into this. So I mean, I know it's died down a little bit. There hasn't been as much chatter about it in the last couple of days, but last week around this time, it was a big deal because they went on. They had the drag queen, supposedly a parody of the Last Supper, the DiVinci. Actually, it was the DiVinci picture of the Last Supper. It's not even a biblical. I mean, obviously, nobody was there.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that picture Leonardo da Vinci painted wasn't canonized? Is that what you're saying to me? Oh, okay.
Right. It was a rendition of some guy's thoughts about what it looked like. Anyways, so so everybody's freaking out. And Brian, it amazes me. First of all, there's been so many parodies. And I just today went online and it just typed in parodies of Last Supper, and I can't help myself. I just got to show the world what I'm talking about here. Let me get this. I'm a little clunky when it comes to the internet, but here we go. So I'm going to show you guys what I found today about the Last Supper. Here, let's. What is it? All right, can you guys see that?
I can.
Can you guys see? Can you see that? All right. All right. So that's Kermit. Let's see if I can get that closer. Yeah, we got Kermit over here. We've got. Hold on. Sorry. Okay, so we got Kermit the Frog as Jesus. We've got Charlie Brown.
Hey.
Oh yeah, Charlie Gold Charlie. That's some rappers as a parody of the Last Supper. We've got a bunch of Santa Claus. The Simpsons, not to be outdone. Homer. We've got more rappers. Bugs Bunny. How dare he? That little rabbit, that wily rabbit. No, it's Coyote. Big Bird. Oh no,
not Big Bird.
Stooped that low. And then we've got some more Saturday morning characters. Cartoon characters. We got the Marvel guys showed up in the Last Supper. We've got Snow White, all the princesses from Disney. Oh my goodness. What is the world? We got the poker dogs at the Last Supper. I think Jesus is playing 5-card stud there. we got the Smurfs.
Smurfs.
Those Smurfs. Look at the Smurfies. And then we've got Pokemon, Mickey Mouse in on the act. We got Mario. Mario's messing things up. We got some anime, some famous people. I have no idea what the heck that is. We got I think that's Albert Einstein, and not to be outdone, the Donald shows up. Not you Trumpers. Cancel that, why don't you?
Yeah.
Anyways, gosh. I mean, this is ridiculous. This has been that scene, that DiVinci picture has been parodied so many times, and you don't see that outrage, with that. What's your take on this whole thing, Brian?
Well, for one thing, I'm just going to read a little bit. This is from an article in the Hollywood Reporter. Sometimes, I'm guilty of this. You see something and you start to complain about it before you know anything about it. But the official X account for the Olympic Games showed photos of the performance, noting that it was not meant to reference, meaning that it was meant to reference the Greek god Dionysus, not the Last Supper. And they said the interpretation of the Greek god Dionysus makes us aware of the absurdity of violence between human beings, the photo captions read. And then it goes on and talks about they wanted to do something that they felt was inclusive. But, I'm no longer shocked at the things that engender outrage in the Christian community that are really, for all practical purposes, harmless, and aren't really hurting them or anyone. And the posturing that happens when some of those incidents occur, I just think it really is a reflection of maybe for those kinds of people who engage in that outrage, what's important and what isn't important, and maybe how those priorities are a little bit skewed.
Absolutely. Well, what do you mean by that? Like, what should we be caring about? That's my thing. Is you're wasting all this energy. I mean, I read so many things. Some of my friends who are pastors, I read, that we're being persecuted, and we're going to ban the games, and like, what? Well, I'm not banning nothing. I'm a proud American. I want these kids have worked their asses off for years, and we got offended, so we're not going to watch them perform. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's just ridiculous.
I must confess, I've spent multiple hours watching and really enjoying the Olympics.
You heathen.
Yeah. My take on that is that there's a lot of things happening in the world that I think, so we're coming from a Christian perspective here. If I understand Jesus to be who he said he is, there's a lot of things in the world that break his heart. And having a bunch of dudes dress up as drag queens and putting on a depiction of a Greek god and turning it into a fashion show probably doesn't even make the list. I don't know.
Right. I said in my book that I brought up a story of the woman in the church that I attend, actually, that got mad at the pastor because he showed a video of a girl going down the zip line, and she kept saying, oh my God. And, she was outraged and going to leave the church and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, that week I had been in a high school where a young man told me that he was laying in front of it. He didn't get, I said, you look tired, man. He goes, yeah, well, last night I was laying in front of my mom's bedroom door so my stepdad wouldn't go and beat her up again. So I was up all night and getting any sleep. And I was thinking, I don't know. I know it's apples and oranges, but my goodness, like, I don't think God's up in heaven looking down and going, I'm really offended that there was a, oh my God on the video. I think he looks down and sees the horrific things that are happening. And that's my question to the Christians is, and I'm a Christian, but my question to you people that are outraged by this is why? And of all the things you could be outraged about, why are you outraged about that? Like, how about the pastors that are abusing children? How about the ministers that we hold up to the world and say, these are the examples of who we want you to follow. Like to me, that picture's not sacred. My relationship with God is sacred, and there's things about my faith that are sacred, but they're not talking about that. They didn't attack my faith.
Yeah.
They attacked an image. I mean, they're saying they weren't even doing that. Let's just say they were. Let's say that was some attack on Christianity. Okay. Even if it was, they're not attacking Jesus Christ. They're attacking the image that we put up. So all you have to do, if you're outside the United States and you're not a Christian, you look in, you want to see what the landscape looks like for American Christianity, and you Google it, you'd find stuff like, I'm going to show some more slides. You'd find stuff like this. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see that. You'd see this outrage that's going on. You see the guy that just got kicked out of his church because he had sex with a 12-year-old when he was in his 20s. You got Bill Hybels and Ortberg, and you got all. I mean, the list goes on of just the scandals that have happened. And so, if these guys are looking at the United States and going, "What's Christian? Let me look at the landscape of Christianity in the United States," and they see this stuff, they're not mocking Jesus Christ. They don't even know Jesus Christ. They don't even know this is what we're presenting as Jesus Christ. We said to the world, these guys are good examples. These guys, you should follow these guys. Mike Bickle, follow him because he knows how to pray. Follow Hybels because he's a great leader in leadership. He leads, he was Bill Clinton's spiritual advisor, blah, blah, blah. So here's our heroes. And then they see what's happened to those heroes.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, I'd mock it too, to be honest with you.
I think you made a great point. When we see things like this, and let's just say these folks were depicting the Last Supper, which I don't believe they were, but let's say they were, that you made a great point. You said that they're not mocking Jesus. And I agree with that. I'm going to read something that I texted to Mike earlier today, because I'll mess it up if I just say it. But I said, part of the reason people can't stand the church and mock the church and mock Christians and can't see past the hypocrisy to see anything good is because no one inside the institution is standing up vocally, calling out the hypocrisy from inside the church. And there's nobody coming from inside of the church saying, hey, wait a minute, you know what? We agree with you. These people are worth criticizing. These people don't represent Jesus. And it's interesting that all the hatred and the mockery is from outside of the church, as Mike said, isn't directed at Jesus, but instead of these people like Mike Bickle or Bill Hybels or this whole crowd that co-opt his name, claim to represent him when in fact the only thing they represent is their own insecurity and brokenness and desire to be significant.
Right. That's exactly right. I had a 2.5-hour conversation with the person who outed one of these main guys. I can't say who yet because I really want her to come onto the podcast, and she's going to read the book and then make a decision. But she did talk to me for 2.5 hours, and she exposed one of the bigger guys. She was the one, and we talked for 2.5 hours, like I said, and it was all the stuff that we know, Brian. It's all the stuff you just said. There's nobody in the church. She said her biggest disappointment was not what happened with this person. That was bad. But the people who, like, even when it was real obvious that this guy had done it, there was an outside investigation done, and it was exposed that he did it. He was defrocked or whatever. He was pushed out of his church, but he had a golden parachute. He's worth $25 million. He's fine. He's going to be living on his sailboat for the rest of his life or whatever. But the bottom line is that she said that it was the silence of her friends. It was the people who wouldn't come out and expose him and wouldn't come out and come to her defense. At first, some of them did come along because it was obvious. They couldn't help it. Because it was, pretty obvious, like I said, it was right in everybody's face. But there's still people who remain silent. And it's the same thing with Jeannie Mayo. There's still people who No, she covered up sexual predatory behavior from leaders over and over and over, from Bellevue all the way to Atlanta, and they still won't come clean. They still won't say this is what, because they're not. And that's what the church, that's what from the people on the outside of the church are looking at, going, you cowards.
Yep.
I don't want anything to do with that. I don't want to be a Christian if that's what a Christian is. You guys are going to protect the brand. That's what you care about. Meanwhile, there's children and people being abused and neglected and bullied, and you're just going to be silent because it doesn't affect you.
Right.
F you. Like, of course they're going to mock us.
Right.
Of course they're going to mock us.
Right. And especially,
you're shocked?
Yes, especially when so much of the church culture today, at least the church culture, is in the media. We all know that there's a broad landscape of churches out there, and there's a broad spectrum, but the stuff we see in the media, the stuff that gets advertised as this is what Christianity is all about, so much of it is people wanting to shove their morals down your throat, or to judge you because they don't agree with your lifestyle, or to give you rules, or to say, you know what, if you're only like me, then you wouldn't suffer so much. Rather than saying that, you know what, we want to embody the ethos of Jesus, and we want to love the unlovely. We want to accept the broken. We want to enter into your world and walk with you in your pain, and be your companion, and bring love and life and healing. Those are two completely different things, and because that's what people expect. When you say, I'll be honest with you, Mike, I have a hard time identifying with people as a Christian. I'm not saying that I don't follow Jesus and that Jesus isn't my guy. But I have a hard time identifying as a Christian because of what that word has come to mean in the vernacular, in the broader spectrum of the world, because people attach a lot of negativity to that, and rightfully so. Rightfully so, because of not only the people that we've named, the big guys, the Mayos and the Heibels and the Bickles and all of those guys, but the people who enable them by their silence.
Right.
And not only by their silence, but by their silence and by the fact that they continue to support them, to give them money, to whatever, give them offerings, buy their product, and not stand up and say, you know what, this person is not worthy of your trust and your fidelity.
Yeah, because in the long run, it's really hurting the kingdom of God. People don't know who Jesus really is. I've said this since I've been a Christian, is if people really knew, if they met the real Jesus Christ, they wouldn't have a problem following him. I mean, that's when he was walking on the earth, he had to beat the crowds away from him.
Yeah.
I mean, they basically had to shuck and jive and do little maneuvers, get on a boat and just get away from people because they couldn't get enough of that man. But I mean, you got to do all kinds of dog and pony smoke shows to get people into your church now, right? We're selling Jesus. We're selling an experience. And then once you get into the church, then we're going to give you the rules. Then we're going to tell you how you can, we bait you in with love and, the low-hanging fruit. We take the low-hanging fruit and then we control those people. And it's just sickening.
Right.
And it makes me angry. And I have a good friend that posted something about, how he was outraged and how we're being persecuted. And he is a good friend. But I was thinking, holy smokes, Kelly, like, come on, stop this. We're being persecuted. Christian nationalism is being persecuted, and I don't have a problem with that, because I don't think Christian nationalism is really Christianity. We're just protecting a brand. We're protecting an institution, not Jesus Christ himself, like the essence of who he is. We're not protecting that. We're protecting our egos, and they're making us look bad. You look bad on your own. You're doing that fine. You're doing fine with that.
Yeah. All of this criticism and mockery and all of these kinds of things, all it is, Mike, it's a mirror that people outside the church are holding up to the church. It's just what you said. You're doing it yourself. And all these folks are doing is holding up a mirror that's reflecting the message that's being given to them by the current state of affairs in the church.
Right. Right. And I just think God's tired of that. And, and the world is too. I mean, Christianity is a joke, not Jesus, but I wish people could see who he really is, because it's not a joke. It saved my life. My brother said it last week, and I've been doing some reflection on it. He said, basically in essence, he said that give or take, but good or bad, there's been bad things and good things that did save your life. And I really do believe that. And he knows more than anybody how bad my life was. And I was right on the precipice of probably either going to jail or, taking my own life. I mean, it was bad growing up. It was really bad, depressive and all that stuff. And God used people in my life that we've mentioned on here, like the Ricks, the Genies. He used them. There's no doubt. Yep. So I was a beneficiary of some of their ministry. I'm not going to deny that. When people say, well, you're biting the hand that fed you. No, I'm not. I'm just telling you that there's evil there too. There's bad there too. There was a bank robbery. Somebody got robbed to pay me, and then I got robbed to pay somebody else. And that's just the facts. I'm sorry that hurts people's feelings, but grow up. Freaking grow up, because that's the way it is. That's the way it is. And until we get back to a more pure, we stop worshiping these pastors and these leaders and stop putting them on a pedestal. It's not good for them either, because when they fall hard. They can never come back. Right. They can't come back. Name a guy that's come back, or a girl that's come back. They once they're exposed, they don't come back. And that's a tragedy, because if they had just repented for their sin and then went through some rehabilitation and dealt with it before it got huge, we probably could have managed it. But instead, no, they're perfect. They're great. Mike Bickle is the man of prayer, and he's no wrong. Find out he can't keep his hands off his interns. Like, okay, what if we knew that 30 years ago and were able to help the guy and deal with it? I don't know. I'm ranting right now, but for crying out loud, we need to grow up.
There is, how do I say this? There is, I believe, in the world today, people are inherently spiritual, and they're looking for a spirituality to integrate into their life. And some people turn to Christianity for that. I did. Turned out that I turned to Jesus, his life, his example, his teaching. I mean, he is the icon of my faith. It's not the Bible. It's not the church. It's Jesus and who I understand Jesus to be.
Right.
But a lot of people make that turn, and they turn to the church, and they conflate what they see people doing with that message, that beautiful message of love and acceptance and redemption. And they conflate that with who I understand Jesus to really be. And I'm not saying I got the corner on the market of understanding by any means, but who I understand Jesus to be. And they see that, and it doesn't taste right. It doesn't sit right with them. And so they turn away and they say, yeah, no, this is BS. There's blah, blah, blah. And that is unfortunate, because what they're rejecting is not the authentic Jesus.
Right.
And if I understand the mission of a Christian in the world, the guy came to Jesus and he said, hey, tell me, what's the two greatest commandments? And Jesus says, well, there's really two of them. The first is like the second. Love God and love your neighbor as yourself. To me, that distills my mission in life down, is I need to love people like I love myself. And when we fall into this trap that has been built, that is called the church, that is called Christianity, that's about so many other things than simply loving people, then we've lost the plot. we're off. We're playing a different game. We're not even in the ballpark, right? We're not sitting on the bench. We're somewhere down the street banging our heads against a brick wall.
Yep. Yeah. So this summer I've been rewriting the book Value Up. It's a book that we give to students. We don't sell it to kids. We make it available online as a download and also give copies away, hard copies to the school and blah, blah. And every about 6-7 years I rewrite it. And it's been great rewriting it this summer because I not rewrite it, just tweak it a little bit and modernize it, that kind of thing. But it's been great because it's helped me again go back to the basics of the gospel, because we can't preach the gospel in schools. We don't, and the book doesn't have the gospel in it officially, but it's the message of the gospel in the sense that we have a source of value that goes beyond any other thing. It's God. You can have great parents and still not know the source of your value. I mean, because all they are is representatives. All they are is ambassadors of that source. And we leave it up to in the book, I leave it up to the kids. You figure out who your source is. Mine's God. I believe in God. He gave me the source of life. That's my choice. You can choose to believe you're a child of the universe. That's fine. That's totally up to you. But that's not the point. The point is that we all started out with value. It's the world. That's what made me vulnerable to begin with to people like Jeannie Mayo and Rick Lormer and these people, these bad actors that use love as alluring. They use it as a lure, and then they get you in. They want to change you. That's not the point. That's not the point of the source. Doesn't do that. The source of love goes, you're loved no matter what. That's it. And then you get to decide if you're going to accept that. And when you do accept it, the natural outflow of that is benevolence to others.
Yeah.
I really believe that. I was mean when I was a kid because I didn't like me. But as soon as I started to like me and begin to see that that I was a valuable person, it wasn't a learned thing. It was an automatic that I started treating people with love and respect. And I think that's what that commandment means, basically, is once you love yourself, it's an automatic to love others, not love myself and my ego and what I can do, my talents and my abilities, but the essence of who I am as a human. I am worthy of love.
Yeah.
And I'm worthy of love.
Yeah.
I am, because of his sacrifice, because of what he did on the cross. Once I realize that, then I can give that away. But my problem is when people like Jeannie Mayo and these people we've mentioned use it as leverage, use it, that vulnerability. They're smart enough to see the vulnerability in people, and they know what to say. They've been saying it for years. They know the hooks, they know the maneuvers, and they get somebody sucked into their world, and then they change the rules on them. It's called bait and switch, you idiots. Like that's what they're doing. And it's grooming. They're grooming people to control them.
Yeah.
And that's what the world's looking at and going, yeah, we're going to mock that, okay? Because that's worthy to be mocked. And I agree. I'm 100% on board with you on that.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I was mean when I was a Christian until I figured out
I know, I was there.
until I figured out what you're talking about, and continue to figure that out. And 100% on board. If you're out there and you look at the church and you say, man, this is not what I think it should be, you're probably right. We've talked about this before, but my personal belief is that we're all born with this spark of the divine in us. And there's something in us that resonates with it when it's right. And there's something in us that creates dissonance when it's not. And I think you can trust that feeling and look at that. And again, just to echo what we said all along, if you're in an unhealthy situation, whether it's a regular relationship, whether it's a church relationship, there are people out there who really know what love is. Might take some time to find them, but nobody's changed you to that situation. You can walk away from it, and there is a pure and there is a real love out there to be found, and it's encouraging and it's healing. And as Mike said, all of us are people of worth, people of value, just inherently, innately.
Yeah.
And if anybody's treating you otherwise, then I would say walk away.
Yeah. Yeah. They start putting rules on it. Get out of there.
Yep.
Get out of there.
Yep.
Hey, listen, thank you guys for watching this week. I know we got a little ramped up, but the Last Suppah.
You should have been here before we started recording.
We need to record the after ones because those are fun.
I don't know. We could get in some real trouble there.
Yeah, well, bring it on. Bring it on.
All right.
Somebody asked me the other days that they said, has Jeannie Mayo tried to sue you yet? And I said, oh no, that would make my day. I would be, I'd be happy if I got a summons with that because that she'd have to be deposed, and she doesn't want any part of that. So, yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, one of the hardest things is to have to tell the truth, right?
Yeah, in front of you can lie to your little bubble. You know, you can lie to your little crew that you've groomed into believing that everything you say is gold. But once you got to put it in a court report, put it on record. Yep. Go ahead, please sue me. Go ahead.
Yep.
Anyways, hey. On that note, thanks for listening, guys, and hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
See y'all.
Have a good supper. See you later.